Good evening, everyone, and the earthquake swarm is still continuing. Aftershocks are continuing right here. Here's the swarm right here. These are the aftershocks here. This is where the 7.1 took place. You had a 5.4 here. This could be This could potentially be volcanic in nature. Because here's the thing. See how it almost opens up here? Let's look at the satellite. Let's look at terrain actually. Or actually satellite even better. So this could be an old lava flow as Ben Ferriello described in his video. But as we go further north, this is where you have the craters here. From explosive eruptions. These are more explosive craters. I mean, there's one right here. Pretty good sized crater, about 1 kilometer in diameter. That looks to be at least a VI4, maybe 5. So definitely has a potential for explosive eruptions. Plinian in nature as well. So this looks like to be some pretty explosive craters here. And these are where you're having the swarms. You had a 3.8 here. And it's a very volcanically active area too. So these swarms could be volcanic in nature. Most likely these earthquakes are related to this swarm right here, aftershocks. Let's look at magnitude 2.5 plus. Not sure how shallow these quakes are, but these depths are not very accurate, because when we had this quake here, it was registered as at 0.9 kilometers in depth initially, but now it was recalculated to 8 kilometers. At first it was negative 0.9, then they said it was 17 kilometers. Now they're saying it was 8 kilometers in depth. So it was definitely under 10 kilometers in depth. So right now, there hasn't been much uplift in the area, so that's good news, which means that perhaps the magma is not rising yet. But there could be some more unrest in the days and weeks to come because of this massive earthquake swarm that is ongoing in the area. Let's look right now at the weather. I'm going to change gears and look at the weather. There are some rain showers coming into the area. And looking at the future, I mean, let's look at tropical tidbits, because it's going to get quite interesting in the next few days. Let's look at the GFS right now. It's getting very interesting now with the tropics. It's like it's very interesting. Looks like the European solution might actually win out, because here's the thing. The 18Z run had the storm going up the coast. This is GFS legacy right here. And now let's look at the Canadian run. Righty, go. There we go. Here's a Canadian. This is what the Canadian is showing. Showing what the GFS was hinting at. So there's some disagreement in the models, but let's look at the European. So now there's starting to be some agreement on a Gulf Coast landfall. Let's look at the European ensembles right now. Definitely Gulf Coast impact expected. This is a GFS. look at spaghettimodels.com. See if anything is anticipated. And here's a crazy thing. A trough of low pressure over the southeast United States is forecast to move southward towards the northeast Gulf of Mexico, where broad aerial pressure likely form. It's a gradual development. So this system is on land right now. It's in Georgia. That's the crazy thing. Let's look at Georgia next, Rad. Let's look at Atlanta radar. Yeah. It's very broad. It's very weak right now. Doesn't look like much is occurring right now. So yeah, it's very broad right now. So, the 60% chance through 5 days. So it's going to move southward, and then it's going to So, going back to the earthquake swarm right now, it's still ongoing. There's still some pretty strong quakes. There's a 3.8 here, 2.7, 2.5, so there's still some earthquakes going on in the area. 2.8, 3.8 kilometers in depth, so there is definitely unrest in the Coso Volcanic field. And this is where the magma chamber is located, primarily. And you see those are the craters there, so. And a 3.8 there, I mean this could be an aftershock sequence, or this could be now volcanic unrest in the area. So there'll definitely have to be monitoring signs of unrest, such as upwelling, I mean, not upwelling, but deformation, checking if the water temperatures are getting hotter when they're doing the geothermal activity. Checking the water temperature when the water changes to steam as they're doing their geothermal activities. And I strongly recommend that they end their geothermal pumping operations, because it could possibly have had something to do with the earthquakes. Maybe not a lot, but you know, California recently had a lot of rain, and all that rain could have lubricated the faults and created this earthquake swarm. So that's another possibility. So, because water lubricates the faults, it makes it easier for the slippage of the faults. Especially since this fault is not subduction and is a strike slip. So looking at the activity right now, it seems to be calming down, but there's still earthquakes occurring in an area that is a little bit uncomfortable, especially 3.8 in Coso. But that's normal. That is more typical. But seeing a 3.8 is a little bit unsettling. But what's really unsettling is how big this swarm was. And check this out, a 7.1. I mean, that is just incredible. That's just unbelievable. I just hope nothing else happens. Well, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye.